This episode of Real Geeks contains discussions of sexual assault depicted in the 2020 film Promising Young Woman, which some may find difficult. Viewer discretion is advised. If you or a loved one are living with the trauma of sexual assault, know that you are loved and that there are people who want to help. Links for online help services from around the globe can be found in the description below.
Welcome to this episode of Real Geeks, and I am joined by Veda and Crash going down the line there, where we are going to be discussing one of the big surprises of late 2020, Promising Young Woman. And I'm also going to tell you right off the bat, if you are here for our usual silliness, you are going to be disappointed.
This is where you put the content warning and the trigger warning.
Oh, yeah, like literally every warning you could think of, because obviously we're going to be spoiling things.
Well, just the subject matter alone requires.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, a lot of the content in this movie is going to make people very uncomfortable.
Which is a good thing. If it gets the story out and it has that, and people have that conversation, that is a good thing. But not everyone should be involved in this conversation because they may have had experiences in this subject matter.
No, exactly. So, and also clearly this is also the best place for me to remind people to hit those like and subscribe buttons.
Before they run away.
Oh my.
And go to realgeeks.redbubble.com where you can buy our merch. And I'm so ashamed of myself right now. I know I said no jokes, but like this is the only funny you're gonna get in the entire episode.
Well, that's not entirely true. I mean, people process things differently, and some do it with levity and joking, and I happen to be one of those people. But it is a very serious subject matter, and it is one that needs to be discussed. So,
exactly. And so Promising Young Woman is basically a dark comedy, kind of in the vein of The Joker, just in terms of the feel of the film, but without the sheer arrogance that was behind the Joker's direction. Because again, once again, as we said in our review of that movie, that director, dude, some directors should not do press tours.
No, and actually, that's the funny thing about this. I wasn't thinking the Joker throughout this. I was thinking Lexi Alexander's Punisher Warzone. This is a Punisher film.
Yeah.
And possibly the best Punisher film.
Hold that thought, because I actually had a similar thought with a different character. But we're going to cut to a trailer for the movie, and then we're going to go right back to that.
Whisper something in your ear.
Good God Almighty. You know, they put themselves in danger, girls like that.
It was a perverted thing to say.
You'd think you'd learn by that age, right?
Please lay down. What are you doing?
It's okay, hey, you're safe.
What are you doing? Hey, I said, what are you doing? Every week, I go to a club. I act like I'm too drunk to stand. And every week, a nice guy comes over to see if I'm okay.
You okay?
You are so pretty. I am a nice guy.
Are you?
1, 2, 3, 4. I thought we had a connection.
Okay. How old am I? What are my hobbies? What's my name? Sorry, maybe that one's too hard.
Cassandra? We were in class together at Forest. You would have been a great doctor. What happened?
I left under unusual circumstances. You remember what happened, right? Why I dropped out. I'm not the only one who didn't believe it.
We get accusations like this all the time.
Who needs brains? They never did a girl any good.
I'm so sorry I didn't go with her. You gotta let it go.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know.
Why do you guys have to ruin everything? We were kids.
If I hear that one more time,
I have to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I was hoping you'd feel differently by now.
It's every guy's worst nightmare getting accused like that.
Can you guess what every woman's worst nightmare is? I wanted to be a doctor my whole life. Lately, I've been feeling like I might want to get back into it.
So basically, the film stars Carey Mulligan as Cassandra, a former medical student who 7 years previously dropped out of med school because her best friend Nina had gone to a college dorm party where she was attacked and sexually assaulted and basically humiliated in just about every disturbing way you could think of. So Nina, of course, dropped out, and Cassie, in turn, drops out to take care of her. And tragically, that eventually ends in Nina's suicide. And while I'm at that point, one thing I do have to credit the film for is one thing that I noticed in the trivia is that the words rape and sexual assault are never said.
Mentioned in the movie.
Neither suicide. Like, you have to piece everything together yourself simply by being aware of how this works in the real world.
Unfortunately, all too often.
And also just the simple fact that the film has enough faith in the story that it's not relying on those buzzwords to get a reaction. And also, with Cassie, like, Crash, you were just comparing her to the Punisher, which you're not wrong, because I had a similar thought when I rewatched the movie last night, except I went more of a Batman route. Where you have the character with the tragic origin story, who has dedicated themselves to this mission, and eventually at one point that mission is complicated by real life. She can't have both things, and complications ensue, and so on and so forth. She eventually has to pick one.
I wouldn't quite phrase it that way. I really wouldn't. It's her mission is her way of dealing with it all, with taking control back, with sorting out her PTSD, because it is her own form of PTSD. Her friend, she lost her bestest friend. Like, they were friends when they were 4 years old. So it's been a lifelong friendship. You may as well say that Nina and Cassie were sisters. And the treatment that Nina had after the incident, and just the judging, the There's one line in the trivia that the title is a reference to Brock Turner and how it was he was referenced by someone, as I'm reading this, a promising young man who, had his life turned upside down. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
His victim had her life turned upside down. And that's the whole point. The victims, the survivors of assaults, usually face this kind of judgment and treatment after an assault. And Nina, much like a lot of women, didn't survive the assault. I mean, she survived the night. She didn't survive the assault. So Cassie, this is her way of working that out and dealing with it and processing it. And I don't think she sees it as a mission or as getting her on her own back. It's just that's her way of processing it. And she only tries to have a normal life when Nina's mom is like, you have to let it go.
Yeah.
And you're right, you can't hold on to that and have a happy life, because that is like a cancer eating at you. It's filling your whole inside with darkness, and you can't live in the light while you're feeding that darkness. So she takes her friend's mom's advice to try to let it go, to put it behind her and step into the light. And then all hell breaks loose.
And actually, I think a lot of people would make the Batman comparison for those exact reasons, because a lot of people have said those exact same things about the Batman character. But just to add a little bit more to you bringing up Brock Turner, the promising young man reference is from the judge who handed Brock the lightest sentence he possibly could, solely because he didn't want to ruin the future of this promising young man, which, yeah, you should get disbarred for that. I'm sorry.
Something like 6 months time served or something stupid?
Yep.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact length of the sentence, but it was very much like barely even a slap on the wrist.
Sentenced to 6 months in jail, followed by 3 months probation. Yeah. And he didn't serve the whole 6 months. I believe he got it for time served or good behavior or whatever it was. But, I mean, that's 3 charges of felony assault, and he got sentenced 6 months and 3 years probation. That's not even a slap on the wrist.
Exactly. No, that's just wrong in every way you can possibly be wrong. Which I think we can all clearly agree on that. But the big thing with this movie, I think, really is Carey Mulligan herself. Because as much as you can root for her over a lot of the movie, at the same time, there are points where she's downright terrifying. And I, frankly, applaud her for pulling that off. Particularly the scenes where she has gone out to a club, and she's done this every week for years, and is still alive after all of this, which is kind of amazing in and of itself.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking. Yes.
Where she goes to these clubs, pretends to be drunk, and basically waits for a guy to pick her up and try to take advantage of her. And just the way that Cassie, quite simply, is one hell of an actress.
She was amazing. She's phenomenal. I love her in this role. She did a wonderful job portraying the subject matter.
Yeah, exactly. At no point in this film, from anyone, do you get the feeling that they're not taking it seriously, or like it's glorifying itself a little bit. No, this is all very straightforward. And a lot of people point out in it that, like, yeah, she's not like the perfect hero in the sense of like she's doing this because it's the right thing. She is so broken that she is every week completely endangering herself. And of course, like, we'll get to it, but it's an inevitability. And that's not something that you do when you are healthy.
That's one way of putting it. Healthy people do not do this. No.
And that's why personally for me, like, it makes more sense, not trying to constantly pull it back to like comic book characters, but she's more of a Frank Castle. Something happened to someone she loves and she couldn't do anything about it. And it's completely broken her. And, she's not interested in necessarily justice. She's interested in revenge. And
yet, like that very first one, I mean, I assume that spoiler alert is now put up somewhere.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like, we've started with basically every warning you can imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, so the very first scene where she's in the bar and there's the three guys and they're all talking about what? Oh, a female coworker that is complaining about business meetings being held at strip clubs because, well, no women are allowed in these strip clubs, and she is her performance review, however you want to phrase that, is being affected because the boys are out having dinner with the clients and she can't go. And they're like, oh, man, like she's trying to take this away from us.
It's actually like there's a level of detail. They used to go to strip clubs, but they can't do that anymore. So their answer was to go to country clubs, golf clubs. But the golf club that they decide to go to doesn't allow women. So it's like, you've made it nicer. You've also made it impossible for her to be involved now. It's like that. It's the complex way that people, it's like, how dare you take that away from me? I'm going to now make it a Byzantine pain in the ass for you to do anything. And it'll come off as if I am being progressive. Which is like,
we're trying to include her. We're no longer at the strip club.
Yeah, exactly.
And this starts the whole thing. This is the guys complaining about it, and then, oh, hey, look at that drunk chick. Man, they really should know not to put themselves in these situations. They bring it on themselves. She's just asking for it, and this sets the whole scene for the rest of the movie. That first mission that they show, where she's acting drunk and she's got no control, and the guy, oh, well, hey, we're gonna get you somewhere safe. We'll take you home. So he looks like he's gonna be the good Samaritan and the straight guy, and get her home safe. Oh, hey, they're in an Uber and they're driving, and oh, you know what? Would you like another beer? How about a nightcap? Like one last drink before going to bed? But my apartment's right. Really? You're setting it all up. The woman is obviously drunk. She looks like she's about to pass out. She looks like she's about to hurl out the Uber window. But let's take her home and have sex with her.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do.
Right. And it's really interesting how this movie plays with characters and morality, because it very intentionally says, like, there's three guys at the bar. Two of them are absolute vocal shitheads.
Dogs.
Oh yeah.
Dogs.
And the third one thinks of himself as a nice guy, and that's what the real focus of this is. It's not the bastards. It's the ones that think they're
the nice guy.
It was brilliant. It comes around later with one character who realizes that he is the bastard, not the good guy. And I really like that in that moment, she doesn't like drive him into the ground. She's like, that's all I wanted, for you to realize that you're the piece of shit. You are these two assholes.
Yeah.
The only difference between you and them is they at least are aware of it. They don't hide it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and
so the scene where she's in bed and she's all, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And this guy's like kissing on her and, "Oh, you're so beautiful," and obviously making the moves on her in his bed while she's way beyond consentability. And then suddenly that light, just her eyes just flick, and oh shit, dude's in trouble.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And you can just the look on his face is like, crap. And that was apparently the first scene that was written for this movie. She
I was just
wrote that, and then she took off with it there. And I love that whole movie, this whole amazing movie came out of that scene.
I believe not only was it the first scene and therefore it like spawned the whole thing, the first trailer I saw for this was just that scene.
Yeah.
It's like they knew that they distilled everything into that one scene.
Oh yeah, and there's so much that you can sell. Like you said, you can sell the entire movie just on that one scene, even just from the change in tone in Carey Mulligan's voice. Because if you hear that and your immediate response is not, "Oh, dude, you are fucked,"
yes,
you should probably be asking yourself some questions.
Yeah.
Starting with that, let's go to ratings. And I was almost going to say 4.5, and just because, again, there were those tiny little story points that I would like to have seen tightened up just a little bit, but then I'm kind of going with how much of this should scare a lot of people and how many conversations this should inspire. And I'm going, no, I really would have no choice but to give it the full 5 out of 5. Like, I don't care what other critics say. You should see this movie.
With the caveat of not everyone should watch the movie. I mean, if you're able to handle the subject matter, if you are not a survivor, then get your ass out there and watch this movie. It's phenomenal. It's well done. It's one of my top movies. It's definitely like full marks, and then some.
And like even then, there's also those that, yes, you should see it, but maybe you want to be watching it with someone that you can have conversations with right after, or maybe you're better off just watching it in segments. Like I would still say see it, but know yourself enough to know that you may also want to take some precautions. Veda, what about you?
Top marks.
Yeah.
At least. I mean, I would even go so far as a 5.5, 6. I mean, it breaks a lot of molds. It breaks stereotypes, but it also looks at all the stereotypes and exactly why they're wrong, why they should be stopped. Well cast, well written. Just it's an amazing movie. There's just I can't. There's like 2 little parts that I have an issue with, and they're negligible.
Yeah. And as much as I'm pretty sure we all know where this is going to go, but for completion's sake, if nothing else, Crash.
This film is a bittersweet treat that has enough to chew on and plenty of salt to leave you with a sense of heartburn that you deserve.
But yeah, frankly, yes. I also can't help but think, if you're watching this with your partner and they're okay with anything that 90% of the male characters in this movie do, you may want to start asking some questions, maybe reevaluate your relationship a little bit.
There's very little in this movie that the guys do that is okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Very little.
Again, even just as a guy, like, there is so much here that is so very wrong. But with that, of course, once again, please hit those like and subscribe buttons. We could always use the boost on YouTube. I will never advise hitting the bell because that bell just annoys me. realgeeks.redbubble.com. We have lovely merch now. We're moving up. And Veda, what else do you have going on outside the show?
Day job, business, other sort of job. Just I'm working a lot. I mean, well, that's a good thing considering COVID. I am working. This is a good thing. But business wise, there's until COVID goes away, I don't think there are going to be any shows. They're asking, vendors are asking, do you think like Montreal is going to happen? CaperCon? We are now looking at September, October, and wondering if the shows are going to be happening. So we're not anticipating anything before June, July. Nothing at all.
Yeah. No, I would, like, with everything like that, I would be amazed if there's a show before HalCon at the end of October.
Yeah.
And Crash, what about you? What else do you have going on?
God, what don't I? A couple of days ago, I was on Nighttime Podcast. That episode is now up. This coming week, I'm appearing on Canadian Politics' Boring Podcast. That was fun to talk about. I currently working now with Rolled Up Productions, helping them produce their shows. I'm probably going to be working with some other people. Tomorrow night, I'm recording a podcast for it's called Blue Rose Cinema Society, where we're going to look at Gojira, the Criterion Collection copy of it, which includes
nice,
wonderful 2.5 hour commentary track just talking about the socioeconomic policies of post-war Japan. I am fuck busy, so give me money at patreon.com/here you go. Money, please. Money now, please. Money.
So with that, I think for our next episode, it's time to, I think, set a record on this show where we will make our record-breaking 4th attempt at recording a review. As once again, we will take a stab at trying to review the 1984 film Dreamscape.
You know, this is haunted, right? It's not gonna happen. I'm
sorry, guys.
I am happy at any point to rewatch that movie and talk about it again. Absolutely. But I promise you, a bear is going to eat our phones immediately after. The footage will get nuked by North Korea. The sun will expand to eat Earth to make sure that this does not happen. And if we all die in a fiery apocalypse, Mike, I'm holding you responsible.
And you probably wouldn't be wrong, because a little behind the scenes info, for those of you who might think that Crash is exaggerating or taking all sorts of poetic license,
nope.
The simple fact is we have changed the recording format of this show multiple times, specifically because of this random Dennis Quaid movie.
Yeah. that no one else remembers, but we. It is our purgatory.
Well, we can't say that no one else remembers it because Junk Food Cinema has also covered it.
Yeah, and how many fucking times did they have to try?
That we know of. I mean, have you asked them?
Right? Maybe that was their first review, and it just never came together.
I have to look up. I think it was actually a year, maybe 2 years into the show. But nevertheless, if the fates are kind to us in any degree,
in the year 2021, are you a prick?
well, look at the year where we originally tried to do it.
Yeah, that might have been the main problem.
Everything has the taint of 2020 at this point. Yep.
2020, the taint.